All right, welcome in everybody. This is Jared Palmgren, host of the Chase and Natty podcast. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday evening here. It is week 0 eve. It is less than 7 days before we get our first actual taste of football for the 2023 college football season. It is, I truly can't believe it's here already. I was talking with Chris K on CTN earlier, how every offseason it starts and we're like, oh God, it's a million years until the start of the actual season. And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh God, I only have a couple shows until the season starts. And now this week, I'm like, oh God, I only got one show until the season starts. And then now we got actual football to start watching this weekend. This is our last live draft stream of the offseason. These have been awesome this year. You guys have been great in terms of showing up, making sure that we are getting some really good traction every single episode here. The chat has been very lively most weekends. You guys have been awesome. So we're having a little bit of a last hurrah here, and to join us here tonight, we have Mr. Tommy Harvey, who came on earlier this off season, but he is back again. We are going to have some fun here tonight. We're going to be a little goofy tonight. I feel like we're going to be giving each other some different challenges and stuff like that, just as a quick little fun little way to celebrate the start of the season. So with that being all said, Tommy, how are you doing tonight, sir? Are you ready for college football to start?
Oh, I am super stoked for college football to start. Can't wait. I sent you that GIF the other day of Bart Scott, and that's how I feel.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just want to scream it.
Yeah, unfortunately, both you and I have to wait another week before we get to see our boys on the field. But honestly, like, that's part of what makes week 0 fun for me, is that literally it's not that I don't care about any of the teams playing, because I do, obviously. And again, I talk about that on CTN tomorrow. But it's like I can just go into watching games. Fantasy hasn't started yet, so I'm not like emotionally invested in any of the player performances. It's just sitting back and watching some football. Some of it's going to be great. Some of it's going to be UMass New Mexico State. But I'm super, super excited. If you're super excited about the college football season starting, go ahead and do a couple things for me here before we get started on the draft here. Go ahead and, leave a comment in the chat there. Let me know how excited you are. Go ahead and like the video and share it with some of your football buddies. Again, we're here. We're just hanging out. We'll be answering your questions throughout the night. A lot of you guys are either getting ready for your home leagues, or you just did your home league drafts this past weekend. We want to hear about it. I want to hear about, what are you thinking about for your upcoming drafts? If you already have your teams for your home leagues or whatever drafts you've been doing this last week, throw in the chat like, hey, I made this pick. What do you guys think about this guy? We're here hanging out. The draft doesn't start for another about 5 minutes here. And again, we're just doing what we do here every single week. So let's see, we got a couple comments in the chat already. Let's see what we got here. Ryan saying, we need to have something like in season, like DFS drafts or something to keep it going. Ryan, I'm going to be doing 2 shows a week already during the season. As much as I would love to do a 3rd show, unfortunately, now that I have this thing called a big boy job, I will not have the time nor the energy to be able to do 3 in a single week. But I do know, Ryan, that CFF lists have been talking about potentially doing a podcast every week that is basically them running a weekly draft for waivers. So that might be something that's up your alley there. And then Joe says, Hawaii week 0 will be interesting. Tommy, looking at the week 0 slate here, man, which game are you most interested in? Which players are you most interested in seeing?
Oh, man, let me pull that schedule up real quick. I haven't really gotten a chance to look at it too closely, but I know Hawaii and Vanderbilt are playing each other. So that'll be somewhat interesting. I know Hawaii is, getting closer to being able to run that Timmy Chang offense. So I'm kind of excited to see what Schrager looks like. Was it Shager?
Shager.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what that offense looks like. And then pull up the schedule real quick, and I can look at it a little bit better.
Oh no, you're good.
Stupid internet. Okay. Yeah. See, got it's week. Yeah. UTEP, Jacksonville State could be kind of interesting. I got a lot of shares of Tyron Smith, so I really want to see what he looks like going back to UTEP. The Notre Dame game, obviously, is probably the biggest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
USC San Jose State, kind of want to see what their wide receivers are looking like.
Yeah,
Ohio San Diego State may be a really good one too.
I think that might be, like, in terms of just like even matchups, I think Ohio San Diego State is probably the best game of the week. Although Heath in the chat is saying that Ohio +3 is easy money. Chris K and I discussed that briefly on CTN today about how, again, MAC schools typically don't do well outside of the MAC, even against other G5 opponents. But like
San Diego State has pretty solid defense.
They got a pretty solid defense. I still think they're kind of underestimating Ohio a little bit. Maybe they are factoring in that Curtis Rourke's probably not going to be still 100%. But like, I think they're going to be able to pull it off. Again, San Diego State, their defense might be solid, but like, there's nothing on that offense that truly excites me. I'm kind of interested to see if maybe San Diego State gets back to having that one clear bell house workhorse, bell cow running back, something like that. I don't know. I'm curious to see if they kind of single in on one guy there, or maybe they continue to have the split backfield, in which case, again, I will not own any Aztecs this year. Let's see. Joe Arpazzi says 12-team league, 4 keepers per team, then redrafts, 3 starting running backs and 3 bench running backs. Would you look to draft running back Malik Sherrod out of Fresno? Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how deep your league is going. If you only got like maybe 15 spots in your team, maybe not. I'd still probably take a shot on him. I like him quite a bit.
Is that what we said?
He said 12-team league, 4 keepers per team, then redraft.
Gotcha.
So, Joe, let me know how many rounds it is, but I definitely would take a look at him. Oh, look at that. The draft has started. I wasn't even paying attention that much. 2 quarterbacks off the board here, Caleb Williams and Austin Reed. Tommy, should we tell the chat like what our challenge is tonight? Because you and I came up with a challenge beforehand here to make it a little interesting, because I feel like if we tell them, they're just going to make our lives even harder.
Yeah, they're going to make our lives miserable, and I'm by about the 3rd or 4th round, they'll probably figure it out anyway, so we'll just...
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Let them figure it out.
I'm gonna go ahead and start filling my queue up just a little bit here. Yep, they can't see my thing here, so we're good to go there. Oh boy. Okay. All right. I'm interested to see how this first round shakes out for me here, but we'll figure all of that out. Ryan says, Ryan, I think you misinterpreted me. I think Ohio and San Diego State will be a pretty solid game, for sure. Again, I just think Ohio's being underestimated a little bit. They're underdogs by 3 points, I think, if Heath is to be believed on the line there. So I fully would. It's gonna be a close game regardless. So let's see what else we got here. Luke asks, is Riley Leonard a top 10 QB, and what's your opinion on him? Tommy, throwing it to you, man. What do you think about Riley Leonard?
The ACC is really, really, really bad on defense. Outside of Clemson and maybe Florida State, I don't think anybody's going to be able to stop him. So yeah, I mean the way he's able to run the ball, and he's got a really good arm. Got a couple of decent receivers there. I can see Riley Leonard finishing as a top 10 quarterback.
I mean, he finished as a top 10 quarterback last year. No reason to think he can't do it again this year. The only thing I can maybe think of is if for some reason they asked him to run less than he did last year. And then the other part of it is that just defenses have figured him out a little bit more. But like they had all of last year to figure him out and just never really went anywhere. So Also, Joe, I'm going to get to your question here. I'm just looking at my rankings real quick. Yeah, Joe, I would 100% look at Malik Sherrod as a RB4. I have him as my RB45 on the year. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I would draft him, Joe. Again, maybe your league was starting 3 running backs. You're probably drafting running backs a little bit earlier than a lot of other drafts necessarily would be. So maybe you bump him up a round or two compared to where I've seen him go. But usually around like the 45th running back off the board, he's definitely on my radar.
I can almost guarantee you tonight he will be taken by round 15. So,
yeah, I would say so, Tommy. I would say so. Let's see. Austin Wood says, who do you think will put up more fantasy points this year? Oh, heck yeah. I got the guy I wanted. Who will put up the more fantasy points this year? Matthew Golden or Sam Wiglusz? I am 100% more on Sam Wiglusz than I am on Matthew Golden. Obviously, Dana Holgerson, Houston, they gave us the wide receiver 1 last year in Nathaniel Tank Dell. He was absolutely awesome. Matthew Golden looked pretty good down the stretch. I just don't know if he's going to be able to separate from the rest of that room like we think he is going, like Dell was able to last year, because they got a pretty solid receiving room there at Houston outside of Golden. Sam Brown is somebody that I am legitimately interested in this year. In addition, sorry, I keep burping tonight, y'all. I don't know what's wrong with me there. In addition to that, you got Joseph Manjack there, who was a pretty solid receiver for them last year. But then through the transfer portal, they also bring in Joshua Cobbs, who was the leading wide receiver there at Wyoming last year. And then you also bring Stephon Johnson, who's a breakout true freshman wide receiver there at, Oklahoma State. I promise I can think tonight, y'all. So again, they got like 5 good options there. They're gonna do their best to get all of those guys out there on the field at the same time. So I think he is more likely to get lost in a bunch of receivers. And then Sam Wiglusz is like the clear number 1 guy there at clear number 1 guy there at Ohio. And especially with Rourke being healthy, I'm feeling very, very good about that.
Well, let's also not forget about the clear step up in competition for Houston moving into the Big 12.
That's a very good point as well. I agree with that, Tommy. All right, let's see.
Yeah, I'm on the Sam Wiglusz train also. I've been kind of grabbing him as much as I can, within reason.
All right, I've done something tonight. This is the first time I've actually done this all off season. I think I've not done running back to start a single draft this year, but honestly, it's just kind of the way things are falling to me here, man. Like with the limits that we've placed on ourselves here tonight, like I'm pretty happy with that. Again, like I struggle after a certain point finding some running back value late in drafts, and so, this is providing a perfect opportunity for me to try to hit it early and then maybe not worry about it as much later.
I almost took Barnes with Frank Harris, but I didn't want to go UTSA
I was curious if you were going to maybe like reach up and grab Cephas there as well, like kind of get the stack there. Especially if Clark's not out, like that makes Cephas like the clear number 1 guy.
Right.
So,
well, I wanted to make sure I got a pretty elite running back also.
I think I'm letting you know right now, Bangura fell to me at 2.5 there. I probably would have gone that direction.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty solid double tap you got there in the first and second round there. Joe Arpazzi says, what percentage do you give Tyler Shuck staying healthy this year? My heart says 100%, Joe. My heart says that.
My brain says 12%.
Yeah, my brain says, yeah, I got to be a little bit lower than that. But nobody roots for injury, but like I really, really hope he stays healthy this year, because I think he is the guy I think that staff wants to be the starting quarterback right now. Anytime he's healthy, he's clearly the guy they put out there as much as Bear Morton, I think, fits that offensive scheme, they clearly see something in Shuck. So, quite frankly, he's a guy that I think a lot of people are going to, if he does stay healthy this entire year, the people who rolled the dice and grabbed him in like the 5th and 6th round in a lot of drafts are going to be extremely, extremely happy with him this year. So again, we got plenty of viewers.
He's able to drive the ball downfield pretty well. So
yep.
If he stays healthy in that offense, he could be in for a big year.
Oh, 100%. All right, let me load up my queue here a little bit. It's been a little bit decimated here. So, alrighty. I feel good about this. Feeling good here. Alrighty.
Based on our parameters, I loaded my queue up with about 100 guys prior to the draft. So
yeah, I know. There's definitely gonna be a certain point after a while where I'm gonna be like, I am just gonna have to start taking shots on guys here.
Yep.
So, but we'll figure it out. But anyway, let's see. Got plenty of viewers in the chat today, y'all, so do not be shy. Go ahead and drop some more questions there in the chat. Ryan, Heath, Joe, Austin, a lot of them are in Luke as well, taking plenty of opportunities there to ask some questions there. So again, if y'all haven't made your voices heard, go ahead and do that. Again, it gives us plenty of things to talk about here. Let's see, he's kind of coming back to me here. Ryan says, Bama kid won the USAM. Is that US men's something?
US amateur, maybe? Is that the golf tournament going on again?
Oh, no, that's probably right. All right, let's see what we got here. If a certain player falls to me here, I'm going to go ahead and grab him because, again, US golf. Oh, my God, can't speak tonight. Golf US amateur.
Show.
It's my second show of the day. Give me a break, y'all.
I hope everybody's enjoying my live action MODOK face going on.
I meant to make that joke at the very beginning of the broadcast, but then completely forgot to do so. Luke, I know you're listening. I really like your draft start right now with the Dunze, Benson, and McClellan. That's a really, really solid start. Heath, love your start right there with Malachi, Gadsden, and Jackson. Dar, really solid there with Marvin Harrison, Worthy, and Braylon Allen. Brandon Lepo, or Leper, excuse me, your nickname's Lepo. Lepo, you are taking a shot there with Devontae Walker. I mean, I assume he gets his waiver, so...
Yeah. He'll get cleared, I'm sure.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and take my first wide receiver here. Talked about him earlier. I'll take Sam Wiglis. If Curtis Rourke is healthy, I ain't going to be worried about that whatsoever. So let's see what we got here. Austin Smith says, what is the word on Cam Rising versus Florida? How will that affect Jackson for week 1? That is a pretty good question. I really think that Florida-Utah game is about to become an absolute slugfest. I really do believe that it's going to be a super low-scoring game. Both sides are going to want to run the ball a ton because neither one is going to trust their quarterback. It sounds like Rising will not be available for that game, which is a big blow to Utah.
Well, it's a big blow to Utah because their backup is also out for the year.
Exactly. So. Is he out for the year? I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
He got hurt this past week. I heard he was out for the year.
Yeah, I had not heard that, but if that's the case, then Utah's in really, really big trouble. They need to get Rising back as quickly as they can. Yeah, they're going to try to run down Florida's throat as best they can, as far as I can tell. I mean, what else are you going to do? You got Jaquindon Jackson back there, who is extremely efficient last year. I think he'll be very good for Utah this year. This kind of answers the second part here, Austin, for your question. I think he'll have a good game. I just don't know because of how low scoring I expect that game to be. Does he score Utah's 2 touchdowns during that game? I hope so, because they literally got nobody else there. So we will definitely see.
Well, I think for Utah, you're probably going to see 3 running backs out there.
Oh, probably. At least for that game. They're going to want to try to save Jackson as much as they can. But again, the best part about Jackson is that he may not get the volume as much, the big thing for him is that he gets those goal line carries. We saw that last year. Utah always has that running back that just absolutely sucks up all of the goal line carries for them. It looks like Jackson inherited that role. If that's the case, there's where your value is going to be had. I'm back on the clock. Let me go ahead and make my next pick here. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my boys. Probably a little bit early here, but I'm feeling pretty good about his production this upcoming year. So, getting a little crazy here. Let's grab Caleb Hood here out of Georgia Southern. I feel pretty good about that. And then, Tommy, let's talk about your last two picks. You went LaDamian Webb and Joshua Cephas, sir. I know Mitch is in the chat. He is definitely not a big fan of LaDamian Webb. But what do you love about LaDamian Webb, Tommy?
I think he's a bell cow. He's going to get tons of run there. He's going to play soft competition, so numbers are going to pile up for him, and that's what fantasy football is about, right?
Yes, sir. For sure. All right, let's see what else we got here going on in the chat. Austin Wood, is Jalen Daniels' back anything to be concerned about? It's back tightness, which. Again, I'm not a medical expert, but God, I'm like a malfunctioning robot tonight. I'm finding new ways to trip on my words tonight. Like that time, it was like my jaw just forgot how to hinge itself. Anyway, I wouldn't be super worried about it. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. But again, back tightness is a whole different issue than say it was an actual torn or pulled muscle in his back. I think you're going to be okay there for the most part. I'm going to throw this next question over to you, Tommy. Which offense has the best chance to underperform expectations this year? North Carolina, Washington State, or Ole Miss?
That's a really good question. I would say Washington State, honestly. You look at what Ole Miss with the pedigree with Lane Kiffin and what he does, and then you look at North Carolina having Drake May. I think the obvious answer there would be Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Ward was a little inconsistent last year. I don't know if he really has a high end wide receiver one that you just continuously count on. It may be DT Sheffield, I know Victor also is coming back, so he could get he could get his share of targets there also. But I think the most inconsistent of the three is Washington State.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go a different way with this. Again, I think it's compared to CFF expectations, the one that has the biggest chance to disappoint is UNC, just given the fact that, we see Drake May went off in the second round here, which that's actually the latest I've seen him go in any draft. That's actually insane that he fell that far. And then Devontae Walker going in the third round there. Given Chip Lindsey's running that show over there, I'm definitely worried about that offense really coming back down to earth there versus the Washington State guys go much later, as well as the Ole Miss guys.
I will say that if Walker doesn't get his waiver, then that really takes North Carolina down a peg.
Or for sure.
But I just think overall, just the numbers are going to be there for Drake May. If Walker is available, he also brought in. He's got Nate McCullum, a stable of running backs, as inconsistent as they were. I still think that they're super talented guys.
Oh yeah, they got a huge logjam at running back there, and as much as I just said, they take a step down if Tez Walker doesn't get his waiver. Which Dylan, I see your question there in chat. I'll get to that in a second. I still think they have a very talented wide receiver room. You're talking about guys like Evan Blackwell. You're talking about guys like Kobe Paysor. I'm a huge fan of Nate McCullum coming in from Georgia Tech. Some Andre Green Jr., a dude that we all loved last year, is still kicking around over there. I think they'll be okay if they don't have Walker, but I'm pretty confident that he's going to end up getting his waiver appealed because, like, it's absolute malpractice what they're trying to do with him. They're trying to count his 2020 year. For those of you who don't know, Tez Walker twice transferred. He is playing at his third school, but technically his third school. But the major problem comes in with the fact that his first school that he went to could not play football in 2020. So he transferred out of there after that season, and the NCAA is counting that as one of the schools that he played at. So they didn't play. And in addition to that, one of the things that the NCAA says is a legitimate reason to transfer twice is to move closer to home, in which case that's exactly what Tez Walker is doing. He's from the state of North Carolina. So he's going to win that appeal. I'm fairly certain. If he doesn't, I would think that he is, well, the NCAA would just be more of a clown show than they already are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think North Carolina is pretty confident he's gonna get his waiver also.
Let's see a couple other comments in the chat here. Mitch Hart says draft Thrash at this ADP or wait to draft Chris Bell last. I mean, I'm always going to lean towards drafting the later guy typically, but like I'm pretty confident in Thrash this year. That's probably going to come back and bite me in the butt, but he's had some really, really good practice reports here. Mitch Hart says Watson for Washington State is a giant value so far this draft season. Mitch, I don't know if you saw this, but he's been held out of the last two. Scrimmages. They say it's precautionary, which again, very, very real possibility that it is. But at the same time, like that's still something to be a little bit concerned about, I would say. Tommy, don't like you.
Hey, we have certain parameters on us, and I have to take who's available to me.
Mitch says, Evans, any word on Samson Evans' health? Seems pretty good to go from everything that I have seen. We should be good to go there. Which teams are best to target for their wide receiver 3 options as late round flyers? This is a fun little topic that really kind of got headed by Eric Froton and Chris K this offseason. They talked about it on the Burning the Red Shirt podcast, and they both did some articles on it. I would say the places to target: Ohio State, either Julian Fleming or Xavier Johnson, if you're looking for guys that'll produce well for like best ball reasons. I think that those are guys to take shots late. Arizona, again, we like Cowing, we like Tet McMillan, but if Montana Lamonius Craig kind of takes that other outside position that we saw Dorian Singer take last year, we know that he's kind of a deep threat guy sometimes. I would target there. Tommy, do you have any kind of wide receiver 3 options that you would target late in drafts? I can think of another one off the top of my head, but I'll let you answer.
Wide receiver. If you're looking at wide receiver 3, 4 on specific teams, I think you have to look. You have to look kind of Tennessee's way also. Obviously, Brew, McCoy, and Squirrel White are there 2. Then you start getting down to Dante Thornton and Ramel Keaton.
Don't kick out the cat, Tommy. He was adorable. He was doing so well.
He was sitting on the arm of my chair and like kind of crowded me, so I wanted to get him off of me. Other than that, you could look at even Oregon, with Troy Franklin and then you got Tez Johnson there. You make it look at a guy like a Jurian Dickey later in the draft. I think he could be really productive for them. Other than that, you're looking at Wisconsin. Even I think Will Pauling could be a real nice player for them this year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, again, a lot of people take a shot on Shimray DK over there, but Will Pauling's playing that slot that Phil Longo's loved to target in the past. Another one that comes to mind is, again, we got two in the top 2 rounds. We had 2 Washington wide receivers come off the board. Jalen Polk showed that he could have some really big games last year. He'll be the wide receiver 3 over there, so I would take the shot there. Joe, you said no USC on the wide receiver 3 question. Interesting. I just don't really draft a ton of USC wide receivers. I definitely have not touched Dorian Singer at all this offseason because I think he's going way too high compared to the rest of the guys. There, I think it's assuming way too much that he comes in and is the automatic guy. He'll have really big games. Don't get me wrong. He's an absolute monster in the deep threat game, so he's going to have some long touchdowns. But like Billy Lump says there in the chat, Lincoln Riley typically does kind of spread it around. If I had to take a shot, I'm going after Brendan Rice. He goes late enough that I feel pretty confident. He has some really, really good games He had really, really good games to end the season. So that's kind of where I would go with the USC wide receiver situation there.
Right. Also, there you kind of don't know where that 3-4 is gonna be. Is it going to be Mario Williams? Is it going to be Taj Washington? Is it going to be one of the freshmen?
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know. So it's kind of hard to really guess there. I think you're pretty safe guessing they're 1 and 2. You just don't know from there where the pecking order.
Yeah, where the
pecking order.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Austin Wood asks, what are the odds that Brennan Armstrong ends up a top 15 quarterback this year? I love the reunion of Brennan Armstrong over there at NC State with Robert and I. I think if they're able to get things going in year 1, there's a huge chance that he ends up being a top 15 quarterback for this year. I mean, he was a QB, I think 4 in 2021. I'd have to go back and check my numbers, but he was definitely a top 10 QB back then. If they're able to get it going, they got themselves a new toy in Bradley Rosner, who just came off the board there in the 7th round. Perfect timing there, Justin. I'm sure you're listening to the chat. I heard the NC State talk. I was like, might as well grab my guy. Yeah, I'd say the odds, I would give it I'm pretty high on Armstrong. I would give it relatively speaking, this is a high amount given any player. I'd give it like a 1 in 4 chance that he ends up being a top 10 guy or top 15 guy. Because again, like I could see him easily finishing anywhere from like top 10 to like top 30. What do you think, Tommy? Is that about right for you?
Yeah, that's probably about right. I probably put him closer to that top 20 to 24 range. I think he's a QB2 on your team. But top 15 may be kind of stretching it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely say top 20 to top 24 for me.
Oh boy, I got a lot of people on a bye week of 5. Definitely need to be careful about that in the next upcoming rounds. I just grabbed Curtis Rourke. I love the fact that I was able to get a stack between him and Sam Wiglis. So I'm feeling very, very good about that. Tommy, it's coming up to you here on the turn. What are you kind of thinking here?
I got a lot of places I could really go here. I really like the running backs there. I really like the running backs left, so I may go wide receiver and then running back, mainly because I think that there's running backs that I can grab later on.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're kind of thinning out on the wide receivers a little bit.
Interesting, because I got a lot of guys I like still on the board. Isn't that fun? It is always funny to me, like seeing different, like how people value different positions. Like I look at the wide receiver position right now. I'll be real. I see a lot of value. That's why I'm kind of okay with maybe waiting on it a bit for another couple rounds, especially now that I have Wiglis, Hood, and Lester as my top 3 wide receivers here.
I'm gonna take Boyson here.
Okay, well, there goes one of the guys I was kind of hoping might fall.
Yeah. And then there's still there's still several running backs here that I'm good with taking here later, but I really want to go. Actually, I really want to go with another quarterback.
Okay.
Kind of solidify my quarterbacks here. I'm gonna go Michael Pratt.
Oh, good call. Good call. I like that call a lot. Dang, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of got a little FOMO there on that one. I here's the thing. For some reason maybe I scrolled down a little bit. I had other quarterbacks in my queue. Totally thought Michael Pratt was already gone because I just didn't see him. Yeah, no, the Pratt was a very, very good pick there. Almost might have taken him over Rourke if I had known he was still on the board. But you live, you learn. You do enough of these drafts, they all start blending together.
Well, you probably did the right thing because you were able to stack Rourke with Wiggles. So, I mean it's not a bad pick for you.
Oh no, I'm very, very happy about that. Also, Tommy, I don't know if you can see the YouTube chat, but check out Heath's comment.
What does it say there? It's a little blurry on my end.
I
didn't know that. See, he says I didn't know the challenge. I can't really read it.
Don't worry about it. Just look at it on your phone or something like that. I don't know. But a little wink to you, Heath. Little wink. All right, let's see. It's coming back to me. Oh, it is at me. So I'm going to go ahead and take my second quarterback. Stack them up, baby. Stack them up. I got Wiggles Rourke stack. I'm going to get the Caleb Hood Davis Brin stack. It's probably going to bite me so much. But it's what we're doing today. I'm having a little bit of fun with this.
I didn't know the challenge, Jared. I'm going 29 straight. Nice. Okay.
He figured it out. Joe, how big could the Tulsa CFF options blow up this year? Tommy, I want your opinion on this. So there's kind of an interesting combination going on with Tulsa. You bring in Kevin Wilson from Ohio State, right? So you're thinking, oh, maybe they run the Ohio State system, but they also bring in Steve Spurrier Jr., who worked with Mike Leach for the longest time as their offensive coordinator. So that tells you air raid. That tells you they're going to pass an absolute ton there. But Ohio State system, a lot more deep passes, a lot more kind of spreading around the field versus, air raid, a little bit more dink and dunk, not as much, much less yards per catch afterwards. How do you kind of see Tulsa breaking down CFF wise this year? Are you a big fan of Braylon Braxton, Malachi Jones, those guys, or should we be looking elsewhere?
Yeah, I can see Malachi Jones having a solid year. I think Tulsa was obviously ready to pass the baton to Braylon Braxton also, with Brin moving on. So. Mm-hmm. I could see them both having solid enough years to make them CFF viable. I don't know if I make them my wide receiver 3 and my QB 3, but they're definitely depth pieces to me.
Yeah, no, I'm very big on Malachi Jones this year. Also, Heath, I was about to type this into the chat, but you failed your challenge, buddy. You said you're going 29 straight Power 5 picks, and you just picked a Northern Illinois running back. What's going on, Heath?
Liar.
What's going on? You're a liar. You know what? I bet it's the beers. I bet it was the beers. Tulsa is a great draft or week one. Heath just said, I decided to take all of your guys. Nah, screw you, Heath. Don't make this harder on us than it already is. Don't make this harder on us than it already is. Joe says, Tulsa is a great draft or week one waiver challenge. Again, I'd take the shot on Malachi Jones if you're in a deep enough league, Joe. Braylon Braxton, I bet, will be somebody that if he's not taken in your draft, who do they play week one? Who does Tulsa play week one? Because that'll kind of tell me whether or not Braylon Braxton will probably be a target afterwards. They play
Arkansas Pine Bluff.
So who gives a crap university? Yeah. If he throws for like 35 plus passes, I have a feeling that he's going to be somebody that people are going to target on the waiver wire. So for sure. Keith, don't do this, man. It's already hard enough out here. Uh, yeah, Joe. Again, I would take Malachi Jones definitely in the draft, and then Braylon Braxton. If you believe in Tulsa, Joe, I would go there. Heath with the he. And Mitch pointed out that Braylon Braxton did score 68 points in the last 2 games, so averaging 34 points there in the last 2 games. You know, just a little good, just a little good. Okay, let's see what's coming here. I see lots of guys I still like on the board. So Heath, you can't hurt me yet. Well, you hurt me.
Yeah, that's kind of a killer right there.
That one hurt. That one hurt a little bit. That one hurt a little bit. I said you couldn't hurt me, but I was a liar. I was a liar. A liar.
Yeah, because he was who I'd have been looking at to come back to me at the end of this round.
Let's see. Ah, there you are. I think what I'm gonna do is target where I see a bit of a break going on here. We will definitely see. Yeah, why? Again, we haven't really talked about enough of some of these picks here and everything. Dude, Dar 003. I don't think we've had him in one of these drafts yet, but like he's got a really, really solid build going on here with 5 wide receivers in the first 6 rounds. Only 1 or 2 running backs now. You got Braylon Allen, Michael Wiley. It's a half PPR point league, so Michael Wiley is going to definitely benefit from that. I think that he's made a very, very solid run right here. I mean, Jefferson and Preston Stone there in the 7th and 8th round. Yeah, very, very solid.
Yeah, I like those 2 quarterbacks.
Tommy, you see any drafts that are kind of sticking out to you as ones that you really, really like?
I like the way that M. Jeringswald, is that his name?
M. Jeringswald, yes.
Yeah, I really like his build so far. Going with Egbuka and Penix and then Singleton there, 1, 2, 3. Neighbors. I actually like Donovan Edwards. I like Donovan Edwards a lot. I think Edwards kind of will eat into Corum's load a little bit this year, a little bit more than what he did last year. Mainly just because I think they want to keep Corum healthy, and also Edwards proved that he's able to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever Corum went down last year, so I like that pick a lot. And then
it just
taking Daniel Smith, yeah. Obviously, having a kind of a split backfield worries you a little bit,
mm-hmm.
But the way that they run the ball doesn't scare me.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. But like 3 risky running back picks, in my opinion. Again, I'm not trying to single anybody out here or anything like that. But like Singleton, he's going to have really great weeks, but there could also be a lot of weeks where it's the Katron Allen show. Donovan Edwards, like we know Corum's probably going to get the 1A role in that. How much is the 1B role? We don't know yet with Donovan Edwards. And then Ollie Gordon, man, I don't know what's going on with Oklahoma State over there. It's because like it feels like Gundy despises that man. But I don't know. I'm not in love with those running back picks there. But maybe M. Jeringsworld can turn it around and change my mind here. Let's see. I thought I saw something about the... Oh, yeah. Austin Wood asked, what's the scoop on Kyle McCord? Do you guys think he starts or no? It's my own personal bias speaking here. I'll be real. Again, it'll probably take until the moment that Day actually announces the actual starting quarterback for Ohio State. And it would take him actually saying Devin Brown for me to actually believe it. I just don't know how McCord has stuck around this long without some kind of certainty that he would be the guy for Ohio State this year. Like, he's not sitting around behind CJ Stroud for 2 years only to lose out to a quarterback who is a year behind him. I feel like that this is gamesmanship by Day, kind of speaking to the kind of speaking to the media, trying to kick in the butt McCord, make sure he doesn't get any kind of complacent there. That's just how I kind of read the situation. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take my wide receiver here because Tommy is a butt and took George Holani there.
I wasn't letting you take the stack.
I was kind of hoping I could get the stack there, Tommy. But who cares? I got the better running back out of the two. So Joe says, if you had to pick one, I believe this is Jaquindon Jackson. Jaquindon Jackson or Al Gore. Al Gore's a running back now, y'all. This is a completely different alternate reality. No, Frank Gore Jr. at running back. Who would you rather have, Gore or Jackson at running back? Tommy.
Gore. The competition he plays against, and he's the only game in town. So it's definitely Gore for me right now.
He's just so up and down for me, though. Like, again, like last year, he had like 3 massive games, and that's what propelled him into the top 36 running backs. Same thing the year before. I mean, to be fair, that was when they had like the super back, and he was the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, it felt like, for them at times. I'd rather have Jackson. You got a Power 5 team that loves to run the ball, that have historically had one major running back, at least to get goal line carries and suck up all those touchdowns. I'd rather have Jackson. I think it's by a decent bit for me. I
actually think Gore, just because to me he's shown that he's able to do it. Jackson, was more of a fill-in guy, and hasn't really had to carry the load yet. So to me, it's like who's proven it. And Gore's kind of proven it.
Alrighty. Well, we're about a third of the way through the draft here. There's plenty of y'all watching here tonight, but there's one thing I've noticed. There's a lot of y'all that have not hit that like button, and I have a feeling there's a few of you that have not hit that subscribe button. Let's go ahead and fix that, y'all. I think that's a little bit of an easy fix that we can do right now. There we go. I see it starting to tick up a little bit. Some of y'all getting involved there. And then, in addition to that, some of y'all got some college football buddies out there that are just kind of chilling on a Sunday night. It's the week before week 0. We're just counting down the days. Bring them on in and let's have a good time. Let's kind of discuss this with all of our buddies right now. Again, we're a college fantasy football show for the most part. But again, bring them in. Let's talk about, do I think your team's going to win 10 games? I don't know. Do I think this receiver is going to pop off? We'll see. We're open to all types of questions here. Again, we are mostly college fantasy focused, but we just love talking college football in general. We wouldn't be playing this game if we didn't love college football at all. Or not at all, you know what I mean? So, Mitch, I see you in the chat there saying Sam Hartman will throw for 4K yards this year and set the all-time Notre Dame record. Hot take? Honestly, should have been on today's CTN podcast, give you a little hint at what we talk about tomorrow. But it is actually also involved with another hot take that we talk about tomorrow, where somebody said that Notre Dame is going to produce a top 5 wide receiver this year for CFF. Which y'all going to have to tune in tomorrow to hear about that one. That was a pretty good, sizzling hot take that me and Chris K had to discuss right there.
Well, if Hartman throws for 4,000 yards, then
could be.
Yeah.
But then again, like Stetson Bennett last year. Oh, geez Louise. Okay, we're back. Lost
Stetson also has Brock Bowers, so he kind of counts as a wide receiver to me.
Yeah, but he still didn't reach 1,000 yards, and he definitely would not have been a top 5 wide receiver. All right, let's see what else we got here. Joe says, here's a question never answered on your live drafts. Which CFF defenses do I like? Well, Joe, if you give me 3 seconds, I'm going to pull up my top 12 CFF defenses. I'll be real with you. I have not put in as much thought to this as I have for literally every other position, but I do have a top 12. And if you want to hear even more about it, go check out our tight end, kicker, and defense crash course show that I did not too long ago. Oh, God, I am on the clock. Thank you, sir. Let's go ahead and grab another quarterback. Let's grab Darian Granger. I'm just grabbing all my guys tonight, y'all. I'm feeling good about this draft. This is where it's at. I'm liking this. Yeah, go back.
It's actually been really friendly to us tonight.
I've been really what?
they've been really friendly to us tonight.
They have been. Like I've been getting a lot of my guys.
Grab all the guys we need to take.
Yeah, go check out the tight ends, kicker, and DST pod. But I can run through my top 12 defenses here. I have my own hot take within this. Number 12, Minnesota. Number 11, Clemson. Number 10, Boise State. Number 9, Illinois. Number 8, Ohio State. Number 7, Penn State. Number 6, Alabama. Number 5, Georgia. Number 4, Utah. Number 3, Air Force. Number 2, Iowa. And then number 1, Michigan. The main thing I look for in a lot of these CFF defenses, and it's something I'm kind of testing out, hypothesizing this year, I'm targeting. I really wanted to see just how much does the offense of a team affect a defensive performance in CFF. You can try to get teams that get tons of sacks, tons of interceptions, tons of like defensive touchdowns, but a lot of that, I don't want to say it's luck based, because again, there is some skill to that, but like at the same time, like I'm not very good at predicting those kind of things. What I am good at predicting at is knowing that if an offense runs the ball a ton, plays at a really, really slow pace, and is really, really good at playing keep away from the offenses that they're facing, then your defense is going to have less drives that they're going to be able to score points on, gain yardage on. And I saw that a ton last year with a lot of the defenses that filled out or that ended up finishing really, really highly. So that's kind of my entire thought process on defenses this year when I do have defenses in my drafts. Tommy, do you have any thought processes on how to deal with defenses in your drafts?
Well, what I did in our blue chip league was I took 2 defenses, mainly because I don't like playing having to play the streaming waiver game.
Yeah, I got
you. Trying to pick up defenses based on matchups and having to get lucky on the waiver. So what I did was I took Ohio State and then I paired them with LSU, just because mainly I think LSU is going to have a lot of sacks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to score points. And then also I can kind of play matchups with them also with those 2 defenses. So whenever Ohio State's playing Western Kentucky, I don't have to play them. I can play LSU's defense. Whenever LSU's playing, Alabama or I could play the Buckeyes defense, so it's just kind of I'm able to pair those 2 defenses up and just kind of use them based on matchups and just kind of whatever I'm feeling that individual week.
Yeah, he says in the chat, always stream defenses. I do say always stream defenses if you can. Say if you're in a best ball league where you can't make those transactions and everything, then I go back to what I was saying earlier. Target defenses that have offenses that play keep away, slow the game down, give less possessions to the offenses that they're facing. And then also just, you can go for the teams that just straight up dominate their competition. Guys like Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, typically it's never a bad idea to go after guys like that. But like in actual leagues, I try to stream defenses as much as I can. Okay, this is a fun just CFB question. This is kind of what every analyst has to answer at some point, Tommy. Who's going to the playoffs this year? Who are the 4 teams?
Oh,
and don't you dare say Tennessee.
Georgia's obviously going to be one of them. I would love to say Tennessee, but they'd have to beat Georgia in order to get there, and I don't think it's going to happen. Even though the game is in Knoxville this year, Georgia is definitely one. I'm going to say Michigan is another. Let's go with Florida State as another one, and then I'm going to kind of go off script a little here and say Washington.
Okay. I've kind of made a list for myself. I forget where I put it. I literally wrote it down because I was like looking at all the teams that are in college football this year. I'm like, I feel like that there is like a set number of teams that I really feel like will make the playoff this year, and it's a decent list because like look at the SEC. You got Georgia, Alabama, LSU. I'd still maybe put Tennessee in there. They're definitely on the fringe side of things because they could have what they almost had last year where they could lose to Georgia, but if they go 11-1 and they're sitting on the outside there and they've dominated the rest of their schedule, like committee might consider putting them in just based on that. Then go to the Big Ten, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. Those are your big three there. ACC, I think it's really Clemson and Florida State. I don't think anybody else is fighting there. Pac-12, got some decent options there. USC, Oregon, and Washington, I think, are all teams there. Utah, I would say Utah, but without Cam Rising there, I think they're going to be in a bit of trouble, at least to start the season there. If they lose to Florida, they're donezo. Mm-hmm. So, and then...
Yeah, Florida's going to be bad this year.
Yeah, Florida's going to be bad this year. So if Utah loses to them again this year, it's basically tough sledding for them. And then Big 12, it's really Texas, and that's it. Even though, again, I'd still struggle to trust Texas. But if I'm going to name my four...
will have to beat Alabama in order to get, I think.
Here's my four. I've stalled long enough. Let me think about this. Georgia, Ohio State. I'm going to say USC. They're gonna want to get Caleb in, or I'm gonna hope for Caleb to make the playoffs. And then I think for my fourth team, I think I shall go. It's gonna sound boring of me, but I'm gonna go Alabama. I'll say just or insert your second SEC team there, like whether it's LSU or Alabama, whichever one you think wins the West. I think that they sneak into the playoffs. All right, I'm going to grab my first tight end off the board here. I'm kind of surprised he made it back to me here with some of the tight ends coming off the board, but I'm happy with it. So I'll put it in the chat. My four that I just kind of randomly off the top of my head said these are the... Oh, I did not mean to hit enter there. And then we're going to say Alabama. That would be a fun four playoff. I'm not going to lie.
I will say this about Bama. They have a 15-0 roster with an 8-4 quarterback.
They've done better with worse.
That may be true. I don't know how well Milroe is going to he's not much of a passer, and I don't know how much of a game manager he is either. Whereas, in the past, they've either had really good passers or they've had really good game managers that have gotten them, that have kind of avoided the turnovers. And I don't know how well Milroe's going to do with.
Well, here's the thing I do trust. The thing I do trust is Saban and that coaching staff. If they think Milroe is their best option, he probably is their best option. So no matter how bad things might look for Milroe this year at times, I will sit there knowing that whoever's behind him is probably worse. I guarantee you they took the time and effort this year in order to make sure that they make the right choice at quarterback for this season. And so if Milroe is the guy that trots out there week one, I think that's them telling you that, like, don't get upset if this goes badly because the guys behind him are worse. And, like, again, Nate Marquise, when I talked about Milroe earlier on Twitter, basically said that, like, oh, it's probable we see both him and Simpson week one. Yeah, you're talking about them playing against Middle Tennessee State. Of course they're going to have.
Right.
Of course they're going to have both of those guys out there, but ain't no way they're not going to have it settled by the time they go to Texas. So to me, if Milroe's a guy that gets snap one, that's probably some of the guys that he is going to, or that's probably going to be the guy that they go into Texas with as well.
Well, if they don't have it figured out by Texas, then they're going to be in trouble.
Oh, for sure.
Texas will beat them that way.
Oh yeah. Although it's at Bryant Denny, right?
Texas should have beaten them last year.
Oh, they probably should have. All right, let's see a couple of comments in the chat here. Mitch says, nice pick. Thank you. I love me some DMR. I'm glad I was able to get him here. Austin Wood says, if Georgia three-peats, I'll probably break my TV. Sorry, Austin. I think you're probably looking at a broken TV.
Yeah,
this
you're gonna be
year.
down to two. They're gonna three-peat. They have a they are as stacked as a team as I've ever seen, and they have a quarterback that has more potential than what they've had since who was
Fields,
the no well
Eason.
Field, but Eason, yeah. Eason was the guy. They didn't have Fields for long enough for me to really count him as being there. Um, but Eason, yeah, he had a ton of potential, and I think Beck has has more potential than what he had.
All right, let's see. Yeah, Luke Lachey came off here in the 13th round. That's an excellent pick by all Riley'd up there. People was talking about in the chat, I've lost one of my tight ends. If I didn't have the constraints on me that I do, he would have been off like 5 rounds ago. I would have absolutely gone after him as my first tight end. But it's crazy to me because like I draft him like so highly, but like the moment I don't draft him, he goes like 5-6 rounds later. It drives me nuts. Like, do people not understand like that Lachey is like one of the safest investments you can make in a tight end this year? Even if for some reason he's a tight end too, at Iowa, he is a talented enough dude that he is going to still be very valuable for you there.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead, Tommy. Sorry,
it's the same offense that supported both Fant and
Hawkinson.
Hawkins at the same time. So, and both of them were really good options.
Okay, Joe Arpazzi says, follow up to the wide receiver 3 question. How do you view the Western Kentucky wide receiver 3 position? So to me, this kind of is, this kind of boils down to, do you count Dalvin Smith as wide receiver or do you count him as a tight end? Because officially he's a wide receiver, but in Fantrax, people draft him as a tight end. So I would say Dalvin Smith. But also, Tommy, do you have another name there at Western Kentucky that you kind of target? Because I just took Michael Matheson here.
I think you're kind of scratching if you're going deeper than 3 receivers there. I mean, you could look at Jimmy Holiday did just transfer in there, so I mean
That is true.
That's not terrible. I guess they also have guys like Evan Poindexter, Irvin Poindexter.
He's a running back, though.
Yeah, but he is a running back. I don't know what I was.
It's okay. We're all brain farting today.
Yeah,
it's great.
But Jimmy Holiday did just transfer in there. I think I'd probably look at somebody like him, maybe even Xavier Capers.
Well, the name I'm looking at here right now, I was trying to make sure I accounted for all their transfers and everything, but Blue Smith is a former 4-star wide receiver that was at Cincinnati for a couple of years. He's now headed over there to Western Kentucky. And looking at our depth chart and the CFF guide and a couple of depth charts elsewhere, there's quite a few people who are expecting him to be the wide receiver 3. I didn't write full disclosure. I did not write the Western Kentucky thing or page for our guide. So I would say that Blue Smith is definitely a name that people need to kind of keep an eye on there because he looks like he might be playing in that X. So he might be more valuable than Matheson. So maybe I should stack those two up and just to play it safe. But who knows? Y'all don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm definitely not telling you all out there as you're listening to this stream. Let's see. Oh, JD Knoll must be out of the room at the moment because he has used up both of those picks there. But that is okay. We'll keep it moving here. Mitch Griffiths in the 15th round. That's so good. That is so good.
That is very solid. And again, if there weren't the type of constraints that we have placed on ourselves, he would have been gone a couple rounds ago.
I agree. I definitely would have taken a shot on him. Oh, Casey Thompson. That's a good pick there. I thought about coming back to him. Let's see. Where else could I go? You know what? I think I'm gonna go target these two guys next. There's a lot of good picks still left on. I mean, we're only halfway through the draft, so like, what am I talking about? There's plenty of things going on here. Us again, chat looks like it's gotten to a little bit of a lull. If y'all got more questions, please feel free to drop those in there. Again, we got plenty to talk about throughout this draft. Let's see what else. What other picks are kind of interesting to me here? Tommy, you see any picks that are super interesting to you?
The Chandler Morris pick right there in the 14th round, I kind of like that. Xavier Weaver, going a little higher than what I had expected him to go, but that's still not awful there in the 14th round. I like the Ashton Hawkins pick. He's kind of picked up where we're at here, going G5.
Mm-hmm.
His last three picks, in three really solid G5 guys.
So Mitch, go ahead.
And then TJ Harden going in the 12th round to steal, I think.
Where did TJ Harden go?
12-3 to.
A couple of rounds ago. I see. Oh yeah, no, that's a very solid pick. Where did Carson Steele go in this draft? He's kind of been up and down boards a ton.
I saw Steele 6th round. He went to JD in the 6th round.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I'm on the board here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wide receiver here. I talked about him earlier because the moment I start talking about a guy, I should go ahead and grab him as soon as I can so that none of these guys out here will take them from me. Got 2 questions in the chat here, Tommy. Name 3 backup running backs that if the main back goes down, they will be money. I have 2 situations off the top of my head, one Power 5, one G5 for you. Power 5 is UCLA. If either Steele or Harden goes down, the other one is going to be absolute money the rest of the season. It'll be basically a Zach Charbonnet situation, in my opinion, once again. Either one of those guys will be absolutely phenomenal. And then the other one I'm thinking of, a bit more off the radar here, is Georgia State. You got Marcus Carroll and KZ Adams there. I think they're going to be a great little tandem for Georgia State over there. One of those guys goes down. It sounds like there's a pretty big drop-off behind those 2 guys. I think you'll see some money there with the Panthers between those 2 guys.
I think there's 3 obvious ones. It's Penn State, Michigan, and Boise State. I think those are the 3.
Oh, good call.
Extremely obvious.
Michigan State. Hold on, I want to hear more about that one, Tommy.
No, Michigan.
Oh, just Michigan. Gotcha.
Yeah, Michigan, Penn State, and Boise State.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. I thought you were saying that like there's people we need to be watching out for at Michigan State. I'm like, ooh, do tell. I want to hear this. No, I gotcha. No, I think those are 3 pretty good shout outs there. Boise State, yeah, for sure there. Any kind of off the radar ones you're kind of thinking about, Tommy?
South Carolina could be interesting.
Okay.
DK Joyner, and then they have the freshman with Braswell. I think that one could be really interesting. Who's going to win the job? I think it's Joyner. But if Joyner gets hurt or misses time for any reason at all, I think Braswell could step in and be productive.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely a lot of stuff going on over there with South Carolina, to where I think DK Joyner's going to hold on to that job better than most people think he will this year. I think a lot of people are getting a little too far over their skis when it comes to thinking that Braswell is going to take over just immediately. But I agree that if DK Joyner goes down, then it's Braswell City from there. Mitch is asking, would you consider Von Blue? For those of you who don't know who that name, that is the freshman running back there at oh my goodness, Liberty. I mean, Jimmy Shadwell's offense is there. Obviously, they produced some good, really good running backs in the past, but he's also been kind of partial to committees sometimes to where, like, especially with a true freshman, Vaughn would have to be some kind of special in order for me to trust in the ability of him to take over just because the guy ahead of him goes down. Now, interesting call out by Mitch here with Daniel Highshaw out of Kansas. That's a really, really good call out right there because if Devin Neal goes down, I'm not sure Highshaw gives back that job. He looked really, really good last year over Devin Neal at times. And so, like, if he's kind of the main back there, if he were to overtake Devin Neal and, like, there's not really a good reason for them to split up the committee, because I don't know about you guys, I'm not trusting Dylan McDuffie with anything. That could be a really interesting call out there, Mitch. I like that one. And then Joe says, who have we seen being drafted higher than their ADP the last couple of weeks? Tommy, you've been in plenty of these drafts, man. Anybody that kind of sticks out to you as somebody who has been kind of going higher in drafts recently?
Just kind of looking at the board tonight. I think Jeremy Curley may have gone a little too high there.
Jordan Curley, you mean?
Fourth round. Yeah, fourth round. I may have looked at him more kind of 6th round range, honestly. And then you got guys like I'm actually higher on Dorian Singer than what a lot of people are, and he didn't go to the fit until 5.5 in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
I may have taken him more towards the middle of the 4th. Travion Henderson actually I think is being drafted a little too high also.
Henderson.
Yeah, Travion Henderson going in the 4th round. There's so much, with Mayan Williams there, and then the fact that he's kind of been injured a little bit too, and with Williams and Dallin Hayden there, I don't think Henderson's going to get just the overwhelming bulk of the carries in order to make him a 4th rounder.
Heath made a good call out here. We saw Bradley Rosner go off pretty early in this draft. Where did he go? 7th round.
Yeah.
I like the landing spot a ton, and he did bump up my draft boards because of that landing spot. I actually like him better at NC State than I do at Rice, because I do think he'll walk in and be the wide receiver 1 immediately. But that's a big risk I'm taking by making that assumption. So I probably would wait until like maybe the 10th round before I started considering Rosner there. Also, Tommy, your cat is so cute.
Oh yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I got two girl cats recently. They're both less than a year old. They're little cuties.
Yeah, he's a big one.
Yeah, big boy.
Both of mine. Yeah, I got him, and I got an all orange one, and they're kind of older, but they're really sweet.
All right, I have been. If Lepo doesn't take my guy here, I'm going to continue my theme of stacking QBs with my receiving options here, but I'm going to stack them with my tight end. This time I'm taking EJ Warner, quarterback out of Temple. Hopefully they continue the absolute screw-up mentality. Let's throw it 40, 50, 60 times a game. We're Temple. We're not going to win anything. Let's at least just try, throw things at the wall, see what sticks. We got some pretty decent receiving options. Let's just go with there. He's my 4th quarterback. I feel pretty decent about that. Oh, that's a good pick there with Corey Rucker.
You're killing me.
Me or Ryan there?
Yeah, I was going to take Rucker.
Hey, Mitch, shh.
I'm about to look and see what he just said.
No, you don't. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
100% looking. Since you're telling me not to, that means I have to.
You're probably right. I'm screwing myself here. But man, Riley'd Up is taking his time. Do you think all Riley'd Up came into the draft thinking that he was going to get Riley Leonard? You think he has to change? Do you think he has to change his team name now? Like legitimately asking.
Yeah, all Cordero'd up, I guess.
Rising up.
Yeah,
He's got.
rising up.
There you go. Perfect.
There you go. Yep, that's a good one.
Rising up. So, Tommy, you play in a lot of leagues, obviously. Do you? Oh my God! Hold on, I need to mute my Slack real quick. They're like, I love my boys, but they are like super talkative tonight. Anyway, you play in a lot of leagues, Tommy. How do you? This is a completely off the rail question here. How do you name your? Damn it! Damn you! You led me on that one, Tommy. You made me think that maybe you wouldn't go that route. How do you decide your fantasy team names? Do you just go with Dynasty Pros Tom every single time, or do you like have fun with it sometimes?
Sometimes I do. It just depends on who I have on my team and what funny names I can make up.
Okay, so you're one of the guys that like you look at your team, you look at who's on your team, and then you come up with a name.
Right. Yeah. Like,
Gotcha.
if I have Dak Prescott on my team this year, I may name my team a Tri-Dak in a small town.
That's good.
That's kind of a current events theme name. So, I may try something funny.
No, that's good. I like that one.
I had Carry On Johnson one year, and I named my team Carry On my wayward son.
There you go.
Just having fun with it. Most of the time, I just use my name unless I have just a guy on my team that kind of lends itself to a funny name.
Yeah, I think I tried that one year, and I'm just not very good at puns with my names because like in my first ever Dynasty League, I drafted Bijan Robinson, and I just named my team Bijan Demon. See, you're only laughing because of how much of a stretch that was.
Well,
okay, so Case came in here saying he's all Riley'd up because he's a USC fan. So Lincoln Riley is who he's referring to with that.
Okay. Does he have any USC guys on his team?
I haven't seen yet. Also, Heath immediately comes up with a better fantasy name for Bijan Robinson than me. He comes up with To Infinity and Bijan.
There you go.
Like immediately better. I'm terrible at it. So like instead, like I posted about this on Twitter about a month or two ago, where like this offseason, I just decided to name all of my dynasty teams after Star Wars ships. And it's fun. It's fun. Like again, I have a Death Star, I have an Executor, I got a Venator, I got myself a Malevolence. Like I'm feeling nice and nerdy over here. It's great.
You have a Millennium Falcon?
No, I've been trying to go for some of the flagships. Like not. I'm trying to. I didn't want to go for any of the smaller ships yet. I wanted them big and grand. So
no
anything.
X-Wings or anything, I guess. Then, huh?
What was that? No, yeah, no X-wing.
No X-Wings, I guess.
Nope. No, I wanted those big capital ships. Like that's kind of what I was going for. Because it first started with I think it was the Natty Chasers Dynasty League. I liked my team so much that I named them the Jared's Death Star. Because like the first couple of weeks, I was just destroying everyone. Then I got a bunch of injuries throughout the rest of the season. But after I started 3-0 and like outscored my opponents by like 30-40 points every single time, I was like, okay, we're a Death Star. This thing's built to last. I ended up losing in the playoffs, but that's the Death Star for you. Seems unstoppable, and then one tiny little weakness.
There was one year I named all my teams after wrestling moves.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, like I had one of my teams was the Canadian Destroyer.
Very nice.
Another one was the Pile Drivers. Just kind of weird wrestling move names.
Mitch says, who is the best guy y'all play against? In terms of like just fantasy, like who am I in a league with that is like the best player that I know? I mean, there's a lot of really good players out there. Like again, like most of the guys that create content for CFF are usually very, very good. But in terms of the guys that I face off against that like are consistently there year in and year out, like the three names that really come to mind. God, it's hard. I don't want to say a name because it feels like I'm just gonna like poo poo on everybody else. But like JD Yankee is like legitimately so good at fantasy. That dude is like, it feels like he like when everybody's thinking in 40, he's thinking in 5D already. He is absolutely insane. And again, there's so many other guys, but I'm just gonna put one name out there. Like shout out to JD. He like any league that I play in, I know I am in for like a hard matchup with him. And I did beat him once in the BTR Dynasty playoffs last year. So that was great. Ended up winning that league. That was really good. Joe Arpazzi says John Love's pretty tough to play against. He is. Like again, like I said, anybody who spends this much time to make CFF content and everything like that, they're gonna be tough to go up against. Tommy, who's like the toughest guy that you play up against, and why is it me?
Well, the weird thing is that he's always like in startups, especially, he's always trading out like the first 10, 12 rounds. Mm-hmm. That's Ethan Sowers. Ethan Sowers is always trading out of those top 10, 12 rounds in C2C leagues, but he always makes the playoffs somehow, and I don't understand it. People just, for some reason, people just allow guys to fall to him, in the 20th round that still shouldn't be there.
Oh, I agree 100%. He is incredible at finding value.
Like I got his first 15 rounds for my first round pick, for my first round NFL pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally had 30 picks in the first 15 rounds. And so I got everybody I wanted, but then everybody else was still letting all these CFF guys fall to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was killing it. He was killing it in like round 25.
He plays the ultimate Zag in CFF or in C2C, which is like a lot of people in C2C want to, target the Devi picks, target the freshmen. This is the cheapest they're ever going to be ever again. That's really only true for like the top tier of freshmen, in my opinion. Like all the 5 stars, high 4 stars, everything. Once you're getting into the 3 stars, especially the freshmen, like, yeah, I know there's guys we hype up every year, but like, you really should start be taking CFF guys earlier, in my opinion, than a lot of the guys in the C2C space would recommend. And again, maybe I'm biased here because I'm a CFF guy, but like, I'm blown away by the amount of value that falls to me. And I'm looking at some of the freshmen being taken around me, and I'm like, shoot, I'd much rather have, an Austin Reed or a Malachi Corley than, I don't know, the latest 3-star running back that people are hyping up that's going over to North Carolina. So I feel kind of okay with that. Ooh, I like your Oscar Cardenas pick there. Good one there, Tommy.
I think it's funny that we had only said 15 rounds, but here we are on the 20th round. That's still all we've taken.
But in terms of, I'm sorry, I did not quite process what you had just said.
Our challenge we had laid out to each other earlier. We still have not taken anybody we said we would not take yet.
Oh heck no, dude! I'm going all 30 rounds.
Yeah.
You think like the moment you said that I was just gonna go through 15 rounds? Heck no. Nah. We're going the whole way, dude. We're going the whole way. And if Riley Up and Ryan don't, and Jeringswald here don't take my guy, we're in for an interesting dichotomy here in terms of who we grab here, Tommy. Because
we are. I think we're too far in it at this point to give up now.
Oh no, heck no, I'm not giving up. But you're going gun. I'm going with where the word is. Again, like, I don't like Rajay Harris. I think Gunn's the better talent, but apparently they're going to give Harris the first shot at it. So I'll take that shot. We'll see how long it lasts. But I'll take it for now.
I don't blame you.
He says Harris is better. Honestly, in terms of this league, I am I'm okay with taking the shot in the 20th round. Joe Arpazzi says a funny team name that he had for a while was Multiple Scoregasms.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I like it. I like it.
I actually used to take a lot of my team names off of the show The League. So I had a team one year. Password is Taco, because that was Taco's team name.
Nice.
And then I've had a couple leagues where my team name was Fear Boners. I don't know if you've ever watched The League or not.
I have not.
It was hilarious, 6-7 years ago whenever it was on.
Also, I love the shot there Justin Nottingham took there with Deion Hankins. I talked a little bit about him on CTN tomorrow, where like I'm interested to see like if he gets like 15 to 20 carries out of Utah. I made the same mistake that I made on CTN earlier. If he gets 15 to 20 carries out of UTEP, there's a slight cheat code there with him getting the wide receiver eligibility, where you're just getting a ton of touches with him every single week, which is not something that any wide receiver really can say. Now, obviously, when you're running the ball, like each touch isn't worth as much because, when you're receiving, you're probably anywhere from 8 to 12 yards per catch or per touch. But even still, like, volume's a beautiful thing in CFF, and they are playing in the CUSA, so he does not need much to really get going. So let's see. So again, we're 2/3 of the way through the draft. First of all, appreciate you guys who are still hanging out through here. If you have not already, go ahead and like the video, share with your friends, bring them all in over here. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. We got tons of great in-season content coming for you guys, including waiver wire pickups and sit-start shows coming to you every single week during the season. And those start-sit shows really are unique, not just in the CFF landscape, but just in the fantasy landscape in general, because our start-sit shows are almost entirely, and I say almost, are entirely made up of discussions of real sit-start situations that are submitted by our listeners. So if you want to get involved with that, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Twitter at CFF_Jared, follow the show at Chasing the Natty, and be on the lookout for those posts where we are going to ask directly from you guys to basically provide us your sit-start situations so that we can discuss them on the show. It was a great time last year. You guys really liked it, and we're going to keep it going again this year. Oh, that's a good pick, Kyrie Robinson there for San Jose State. Although I am a little worried that he may not be the guy by the end of the year, because a name to kind of file away for some of you out there is Quali Conley. He was a transfer up, I forget from what school, but basically he had a couple of season accolades while he was there. The staff really seems to like him there with the Spartans. I wouldn't be shocked if he kind of overtakes Kyrie Robinson, because Kyrie Robinson, at the end of the day, is kind of just a dude. And he's kind of, he's good for 10 to 15 points every single week, but he's not really essential to the offense. Conley, if rumors are to be believed, might be a guy that can really kind of up the potential of that running game. Oh, baby, we got some fun little picks right through here. So I think I'm going to take... Do I want a wide receiver 2 or do I want a wide receiver 1? Decisions.
I think you need to stay off my wide receiver I'm going to take here.
You know what? I don't have enough action here.
Don't do it, Jared. Okay, you're fine there.
Okay, I didn't take your guy? I didn't take your guy?
No, you did not.
Now I'm curious as who your guy is.
You didn't take him. You'll find out here in 4 picks. I'm not disclosing it because I don't want anybody else to take him.
Mitch, I'm glad you're coming around on Miller. He really could pay off really well. Again, even when we have talks about him being the starter, he's still going off here in round 21. I probably would have reached up for him a little bit earlier if I didn't have these constraints on us, which I'm just going to say, y'all, we're drafting G5 only, guys. That was the challenge that Tommy and I gave each other right before we started the draft. We did a draft already together. It was fun. But again, bringing back on Tommy, I was like, hey, this time let's do something a little out of the ordinary. Give ourselves a little bit of a challenge here. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy. Have you taken any guys today that you have not taken before in a CFF draft that you're now kind of pushing up your boards a little bit in order to stick with this G5 only requirement?
Honestly, I haven't taken either of the Ball State tight ends, and I took both of them tonight. Not to say I wouldn't have before, but I just never really thought about taking them, honestly.
Dude, G5 tight ends dry up quick.
Yeah. Obviously, I've taken Cardenas in quite a few places, but I just took Franklin here in the 22nd round. I haven't taken him yet at all. Tanner New, I haven't really taken a whole lot of him. I wanted to grab him in this one though.
Mm-hmm. All right, I just grabbed two wide receivers back to back there that I have to say I am in love with. Again, getting Miles Marshall, a little bit of action there with what we saw at Sorensen and Hippenhammer the last couple of years. Maybe it doesn't pay off because, again, I think he's the wide receiver one, but things can change over there. He's big, he's tall. He should be the wide receiver one, but 21st round, I'll take the shot on a guy on a system that has produced epic wide receiver numbers for us the last couple of years. And then Justice Ross Simmons. Somebody else has to catch passes for Colorado State this year. They've shown that they can provide. They can provide for two wide receivers in the past. Ross Simmons was clearly the number 2 guy last year. I think as a true freshman, I think he makes a step up this year, and he'll be the clear number 2 guy again this year. And he'll probably have weeks where he is the number 1 guy for Colorado State, I would imagine.
So you think he's the guy over Goffney?
Yes, I would say so. I don't think Goffney's that good. I feel like Goffney, if he was good, would have kind of broken through that SMU receiver room just a little bit more than he did.
That's fair.
I think Goffney is a clear number 3 guy. And I think he'll probably, again, going back to that question about like what wide receiver 3s would you target late in drafts? He might be a guy I target super, super late. But Ross Simmons goes late enough that I'd rather have him. Speaking of which, I think, Joe, I missed one of your questions earlier. You asked about the Arkansas State wide receiver room. Again, Corey Rucker, we saw go off in where did he go? I just saw him. In the 17th round there. In terms of other guys to target, I mean...
Do you like Courtney Jackson at all?
Do I like who? I do like Courtney Jackson. I do like him. That's a really, really late guy you could go for. But Jeff Foreman, once again, kind of a spring ball hero. He's looked really good the last 2 springs. Did it again this year. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But like he's another guy that I kind of like. Heath is really kind of keeping up with the news and everything. Obviously, Devin Brown. I'm kind of surprised. Who took Kyle McCord earlier? That was Ryan there. I'm kind of surprised Ryan didn't try to play it safe there and grab Devin Brown in one of these kind of mid to later rounds. I feel like that might have been a pretty good move there, but Heath took advantage of that. I
know your boy Felix is driving the Devin Brown train right now. So,
well, yeah, I definitely know that for a fact. So, all right, I think I'm gonna let's see. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna grab this guy because this is there's a bit of a teardrop at this position if I just don't. Well, no, there's a couple guys I like here. Oh, there's a couple guys I like, but all these guys are gonna go until later. This guy I do not trust to make it much farther to me. Please break away, Mr. Dollars. Please break away from that running back room there at Nevada. Otherwise, I feel like this is going to be a wasted pick here. I'm sure Mitch is going to see that and he's going to like that pick. But I'm not super confident in it. Let's see. What else do we got going on through here? Oh, wow. We got some fun. Quarterback still on the board. Yeah, we can definitely have some fun with this. All right. Yeah, Schrader's such a good pick there in the 23rd round. I still can't believe how late he goes. He's going to be 1,000-yard back this year.
Close to it.
So, Jared Brown, really good pick there by Lepo. That was another guy I was looking at in this range.
Yep.
What else going on? I don't know who is this. Holmes. There must be a name I'm not super familiar with. All right, Tommy, you are up here. Who are you going with?
I am going to go with my boy Carter Bradley.
Very nice.
Pair him up, Boyson. It never pops up here for some reason. There we go. And then I'm going to go with another tight end. I'm going to go with Trayton Welch.
Oh, Trayton Welch is a guy that really kind of goes under the radar because nobody likes taking Wyoming players, but they throw their running backs quite a bit. So I'm with you. I feel pretty good about that.
And, they have to give the ball to somebody, and with both their running backs hurt, I think Welch could eat. For sure.
All right, Mitch says he likes Jacquez Stewart in this range. Where did Jacquez come off the board? I think he came off pretty recently. I thought I saw him. Or is he still on the board and I'm just being an idiot saying a name that hasn't been taken yet? See, Mitch, Edward Sadie, that Temple running game was so awful last year. Again, this is best ball, and clearly he can have a really, really big game. I just don't know if I want to rely on that at all this year. Again, I'm counting on Temple to throw it like 50 times a game. That's what I hope. And if that's the case, then Sadie ain't gonna get nothing in terms of volume. Let's take some shots here, Jared. Take some shots. Screw it. We'll just see what falls back to me. I'll just go ahead and grab, in my opinion, the last of the really good tight ends out of the G5. I do like Kalen Black, Mitch. If he is still on the board, that's probably somebody I need to be looking at. AKA, no way he's making it back to me now. No way, yep. But he's there. So if y'all want him, go ahead and grab him, because that'll be a pretty good pick if he makes it back to me. All right, let's see what's going on here.
I think we're gonna hope he forgets about him, and I can take him next round.
Or who?
I said, or don't, and hopefully Jared forgets about him, and then I can take him in the next round.
Yeah, absolutely not. Mitch Hart says, thoughts on Gabe Ervin. For those of you who don't know, that is a running back out of Nebraska. Anthony Grant was their main running back last year. He's returned, but kind of since with the new coaching staff taking over there and Grant having some disciplinary issues over the offseason, it seems like that Irvin's kind of put himself in a spot where he's going to be, it sounds like might be the running back one for them this year. It's just a question of, do they, it is really just a question at that point of, is it by committee? So it's like the RB1 isn't really that much better than the rest of the group, or does he kind of break away from that? Again, we've seen some, why am I blanking on the Nebraska head coach name?
Came from Carolina.
Matt, last name.
Came from Carolina.
Floor? Oh my God! Do I really have to look this up? What kind of college football show am I? Matt Rule. I don't know why Fleur was the name that kept coming in my head. Matt Rule. We've seen Matt Rule have some really good running backs in the past. I appreciate Mitch and Case. I appreciate you guys trying to type into the chat, helping us out there. That was a complete and utter brain fart there. I'm not sure what happened to me there. I think it's just because I didn't grab enough water.
When we're doing this, we get to thinking about so many names when we're doing this that all of a sudden names that we would normally know just kind of escape our brain.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I've definitely listened to podcasts before where like, at least like before I started doing all the content, like somebody would trip up and be like, "Oh my God, what's that guy's name?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's so obvious. How could you ever forget that?" You're 100% right, Tommy. When especially in CFF, you're thinking about so many different names that you're trying to file away in your head, and like, guys, you absolutely know for sure just completely slip your mind sometimes. And Mitch does point out that Matt LaFleur is another coach. And yes, he is in the NFL. Is he still coaching? Is he still with the? He's still with the
Packers.
He's still with the Packers. No, Mike McCarthy's with the Cowboys. See, this is what happened. Heath, you gave me hope, Heath. You gave me hope. Mitch says, with all of the backs in Wyoming hurt, why not just take Whaley, who will be back in week 3? I think that is definitely a way to think about it, Mitch. I don't think anybody's I don't fault anybody who is willing to go with that strategy. Is it DQ James? I know McNeely is out for the year. He's got his ACL, but DQ James supposedly is back from his injury and everything. I would say I might still take a shot on him and just kind of hope that he holds on to that job, even though Whaley's back in just a couple of weeks. But we'll see. I personally just kind of avoided it for the most part. Yeah, Heath, good pick there with Kalen Black. That was really, really solid. As well as Odu Hilaire there. Oh, I like the Colby Young pick there from Lepo as well. Very, very nice. All right, I'm going to draft a guy that I've kind of let drop down my board just a little bit too much recently. So, but I haven't taken him a while. Give me Naquan Wright out of South Florida.
See, I had him on top of my queue, right? Just ready to take him, and you had to go and.
Nope, I had to go and do it to you. Had to do it to you.
That's okay. I've got a pretty nice little stack. I'm about to take here in a minute. So.
Ooh, I'm excited to see what you got here. All right. It's getting a little too quiet. I need to start talking again. Anyway, Mitch says Lepo continues to do well. Lepo's a really good drafter. He's another guy that if I'm in a league with, I know for a fact I'm gonna be in for a tough time during the season. He is a smart cookie. A lot of these guys are smart cookies in here. And again, not to pat myself on the back here. I don't want to get too big of a head here, but like so many guys in this draft, like Ryan, like Luke, and some of these other guys in here have done so many of these live drafts throughout the offseason. And I guarantee you, like you go back and look at what they did at the beginning of the season beginning of the offseason versus now, how much they've just improved as drafters week by week basis. It really is very impressive to watch because again, like Ryan, I think has a really good draft. For the most part there, Luke has a really, really good draft. Like you can tell they learn their lessons on a week by week basis. Sometimes it's because we have to, rib them a little bit on stream. But a lot of times it's just them getting familiar with the pool of players. Like doing this every week gets you exposed to 360 players every single week. And if you go back and look at it, you kind of understand where guys are going. Things like getting sniped help you remember like, okay, that's where this guy goes. I need to draft him a little bit higher if I want him. It is really kind of an impressive thing to watch these guys get better and better as the season goes along here. What am I going to do here? I think this is the part where I need to start being a little bit more careful about my bye weeks. So yeah, you're off my board because you are very much in. You know what? No, I'm gonna save you for the last round. You're gonna be a last round kind of deal. Running back. Nobody I really love per se. I got 19 seconds, don't I? Screw it. I'm just gonna take a guy I talked about taking earlier. Kind of get the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 out of West Kentucky, whichever you think he is. I got Matheson earlier. It'll give me a little bit more time to think about my next pick until the next round comes around.
And I don't think he's ever been taken in any of these drafts. So that's definitely a new one to the board.
I would say so. Again, like we got the G5 constraints on us. It kind of makes you think a little bit differently. Like again, like most of the guys, like again, if I wanted to, I could go some of the Power 5 guys that are still on the board for the most part, but like I don't know, like I feel like just kind of taking some shots on some guys here. It's a G5 one. If they work out, they work out. They don't, they don't. It's great. Yeah, Ryan says he didn't know at least 70% of these players when we started months ago. That's part of the deal here, is that it's helpful to see where people are taking them, who's getting taken, who enters the board, gives you access to names you never thought of before. That's part of the reason why I enjoy doing these drafts so much. And it really is helpful when we have great guests on like Tommy and all the guys that we had throughout this offseason, like bringing on fresh perspectives every single time. I'm going to miss doing these streams during the season. Again, like, obviously, I know Ryan said that we should do like a weekly, like DFS basically draft every single week. And again, I would love to. I just don't have the time, don't have the energy, unfortunately, to do so. Tommy, you look very, very intense at whatever you're researching right now. You wanna clue us in on what you're kind of looking at there?
I'm kind of putting guys at the end of my queue that I'm kind of surprised haven't been taken yet, just because whenever we talk about them at the end of the show, I kind of want to have them kind of fresh on my mind.
No, yeah, for sure.
So there's still several guys out there I'm really surprised have not been taken yet.
I'm definitely going to rely on you for that, because my rankings are completely out here. So like I got rid of all my Power 5 guys, so like I don't have an easy list to just kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Refer to. I did not grab enough water before the stream. That was a mistake on my part. Ooh, Victor Rosa. That's a nice little pick right there in the 26th round.
That is a nice one.
Mitch says, if you have 15 picks until your next queue, how many guys do you queue? Or pick 15 picks until your next pick, how many guys do you queue? It depends on where we are in the draft. If it's like the first couple rounds, I put in 15 guys. Because again, the first several rounds, like we all know the names that come off in that range. And so we all know that like we're all targeting the same guys in that range for the most part. So I'll put 15 just to be safe. In terms of like now, I got 3 players in my queue right now. Like that's pretty much it. Because I kind of expect all 3 of them to make it back to me. And if they don't make it back to me, we're at the point in the draft where I'm not really going to be hurting that much if I don't get access to them. I should probably take another. Oh God, the situation at a certain position is, shall we say, barren. Very, so. Very barren.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, I guess you had some people on your mind there for that as well.
I think I may just be done at that position, honestly.
I got how many? Well, I mean, you got 3 guys there, right? I usually like to leave these 30-round drafts with 4 at the position. I'll probably take my last guy here, because there's a guy I haven't drafted at all this year. Again, kind of going back to my question earlier about like guys that, because we're giving ourselves the G5 constraints only, anybody coming up our boards here a little bit that we're willing to draft that we haven't really drafted before. This next pick I'm going to make here, if Lepo takes the sweet time, is I'm going to take a tight end out of FIU. Obviously, Fairweather was great there last year. Miamin apparently is a very good tight end that they have as well. He's my 4th tight end. He's probably not going to work out super well, but, you know, why not? Why not? So let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, see, I've got 4 tight ends. Of course, 2 of them are on the same team. But I just don't. I don't want to just take a tight end.
No, you're good. You got 4 good tight end options there. I wouldn't try to force anything there. I think you're more than okay. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my last 3 picks here, because like, let me see how many. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty well spread out amongst all my picks here. There's some fun picks I can definitely go with in the last couple of rounds here. Well, there goes.
God dang it!
there goes one of my options.
Yeah, because that's what I was taking right here.
So,
he's done that to me a couple times.
Yeah, no, that was a really, really good pick there, Riley. Well done on that one. That kind of changes where I'm going to go with my last couple picks here, I think. So, Tom, where are you going with your last couple of picks here?
My thing kind of froze up there for a second. Let me see if it. Hold on. There we go. For some reason, it wouldn't pop up.
Oh, Keyshawn King, good pick. I honestly completely forgot about him. I'll be real.
Yeah.
I will be real with you all.
There's another guy right here that I think could have a pretty solid year. I think that this passing offense is actually going to be really, really good. So I'm going to take Dante Wright.
Alrighty, fair enough. Again, bounce back year this year because he was supposed to be pretty good that last year. Mitch, I'm curious to see what Riley does here. Does he go for the just play it safe stack here, or does he go a different direction? Because if he doesn't, I think I know where I'm going to go with my next pick.
I tell you what, though, I'm very surprised that Alton McCaskill lasted until the 25th round. I get it, people don't really like that offensive line, so they don't think he's going to do a whole lot. But still, plus he's coming off the injury, but he was super, super productive when he was at Houston.
Yeah, but the word also is committee approach at Colorado. Mitch can back me up on that one. Mitch, let me know if anything's changed. Yeah, I agree, Mitch. I was just about to bring that up. Cartavius Norton was an excellent pick there. Like, he has a chance to have a Breece Hall type of season this year with Jairo Brock out of there. All right, I'm going to go the other way from Riley there. He took Byron Brown. I'm going to take the guy who probably starts week 1. I'm just going to hope that he holds on to the job. Again, I like Byron Brown a lot, but it sounds more and more that Gary Bohannon, screw the fact that he's still around. I don't know why he didn't leave after this year, but if he's still around, he gets that starting job. It's a productive offense. He is a dual threat guy for the most part, so I'll take the shot there. I'm totally happy with that. I'll probably maybe take another shot at quarterback just to be safe, but between Warner, Granger, Bryn, and Rourke, I feel pretty solid amongst those four right there, so might not take another quarterback here. We'll see. It kind of depends on where things fall for me.
See, I've got 6 quarterbacks, and I'm happy.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
So there's still a couple of quarterbacks on the board that I wouldn't mind having. Actually, one of them just got taken right there.
Uyangalele?
No, Pavia.
Good call. Yeah. In a best ball, absolutely. He's proven that, like, in a best ball format, he is excellent on certain weeks. So, coming down the home stretch here, kind of looking at my team. Holy crap, dude. I really like my wide receiver room here, dude. Wiggless, Hood, Wester, Harvey, Matheson, Jones, Lewis, Marshall, Justice Ross Simmons. The only one I kind of don't like is Blue Smith, and that was like my 10th wide receiver I took off the board.
I've got 10 wide receivers too. I've got Cephas, Tyron Smith, Voisin, Jackson out of Tulane, Ricky White, Newton out of Toledo, Mont Anderson out of Temple, Dante Wright out of Temple, Tanner New, Chucky Hines. Actually really like all of them too, and hopefully Chucky Hines puts up a big year.
Look at my RB situation as well. Feel pretty decent about that. IDA single-handedly won a national championship. I'm going to have to go look at IDA's history at Sam Houston last year, if that is the case. Bo Corrales, that's a pretty interesting pick there at Texas State. I know a lot of people are big in on Ashton Hawkins, but when you look at what G.J. Kinney was he hurt last year? My bad. When you look at what G.J. Kinney was able to do at Incarnate Word last year, it was his outside receivers that did a ton of the damage. Like, it's both of the guys that topped their receiver board were outside guys. Again, Bo Corrales, I have to check if he's an outside guy or not, but if he is, it's a pretty decent value, like 20 rounds after Ashton Hawkins comes off the board, so definitely something to keep an eye on there. Heath and Mitch palling it up in the chat talking about Jay Macklin. I like Macklin. That's a very fun late round pick. I just been telling people, like, take more shots on that wide receiver situation at North Texas. If we think that Eric Morris is going to run an air raid type system over there and that they're going to go to quarterback play, you're going to want to invest in at least one of those wide receivers to see who can kind of pop off there. I'm thinking about investing in one of their wide receivers here. Probably going to get burned again for the 1000th time with him, but post-hype sleepers, what are you going to do when it's 19 rounds in and all you can take is G5 players? Parrish or Fletcher? I'm taking Parrish every time. I think he's going to be full committee though. I don't think any of them are going to be very good, but I'm still going to go with the veteran guy there. Again, Fletcher sounds good and everything like that, but I don't know. I would be shocked if he really took over this year already. And he brings up a good point with AJ Allen getting a lot of hype as well.
It would have been nice if Trevante Citizen could stay healthy, but
all right, I'm gonna look up something real quick. All right, let's.
I have so many shares of Trevante Citizen in C2C leagues that it hurts my soul every time he gets hurt.
Mm-hmm. All right, I love me some John Lee Elridge, but at this point, I might as well take a shot at the guy who is apparently in the starting fullback position for that offense. And I'll just take a shot at Owen Burke here. Maybe it works out. Maybe it turns out Elridge is absolutely fantastic and this is a completely wasted pick. But, play on system here. I mean, a couple weeks ago on the live stream, I threw out the idea that both Burke and Eldridge could be 1,000-yard backs this year. I mean, take away some from what Brad Roberts did last year, added to what Eldridge was able to do. Like, don't tell me it's not impossible that two guys could be incredible for Air Force this year.
Oh, I 100% agree. They do love to run the ball, so they're going to have more than one guy do it.
Oh, yeah, sure. And again, I love Eldridge. He's not getting to 350 carries like Brad Roberts did last year. He'll still be fantastic. But
Roberts was just a different type of dude.
He was.
He could carry that.
So we got a couple your last two picks here, Tommy. I'm curious to see if you take any of the guys that are in my queue. I got 4 guys left in my queue here.
Yeah, I've got looks like 9 G5 guys left, but I'm thinking about taking a wide receiver and then a running back. Yeah,
I'm letting you know right now. I have 3 wide receivers in my queue and 1 quarterback. You took one of the wide receivers,
and then I'm going to go with a running back here.
Oh, who's a running back?
Yet.
Oh, he's out for game 1, but honestly, he's a huge discount right now.
Yeah. 30th round, why not?
Yeah, why not? No, absolutely. I think, and again, without Squirrel Williams there, without some of the other guys that they had kind of bringing in and everything, I think he's kind of back to being, he might kind of get back to that workhorse role that he was getting last year. Because again, when they didn't have anybody else, they went with him. Jacquez Stewart, a good pick there in the 30th round. I am definitely making a mistake here by believing some recent press here, but this man was getting first team reps. He's a dual threat guy in a system that has produced really good dual threat guys in the past. I'll take Caden Salter, quarterback out of Liberty.
Okay. If he's the quarterback there, then that's absolutely a great pick.
If he's the quarterback, but he's my 6th quarterback. If I have to go into the season with only 5 quarterbacks, I feel like I could still win the league, but 30th round, take the shot. Take the shot, because if he does get the starting job and that offense runs like it should, he might be a guy that finishes at the top of my scoreboard every single week.
Man, that's absolutely crazy that we were able to do that both of us were able to do a 30 round draft with just G5 guys.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna post this on Twitter. Like, I'm actually kind of impressed with this draft. Like, yeah, there's some guys in here that I don't love as much, like the Miamin pick, but like, this team is gonna either be absolutely incredible or it's gonna be finishing near the bottom. There's no in between.
That's right. Wow, I didn't even notice Will Rogers was still out there. That's damn good pick in the 30th round.
There's a couple good quarterbacks that I still have in my queue that I'm pretty impressed made it this far.
Yeah.
But looking through my, there we go. Now I can find some guys here a little bit better. But yeah, we're finishing up here. So Tommy, let's just go ahead and get a head start on a couple things. One, how do you like your team? Only G5? How you feeling?
I actually feel really good about it. I got a couple really elite quarterbacks with Harris, Finn, and Pratt, and then some good depth, surrounding them. Running back, Bangura and Eldridge and Holani and Vidal and Webb. I'm really happy with that. Also, wide receiver with Cephas, Tyron Smith, and Voisin. I mean, that's a good squad, I think.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, this is a better team than I thought I was going to come out of this with. Because, again, my quarterbacks, Rourke, Bryn, Granger, Warner, Bohannon, and Salter. Lots of upside there. Again, now, I think my quarterbacks are definitely less foolproof than yours because you got Harris, you got DeQuan Finn. As long as they stay healthy, obviously. Those guys should be absolute studs for you there. But the running back, like my start with Alley and Barnes, that's incredible right there. And then picking up Evans in the 5th round and then boosting it up with some high upside picks like Hines, G&T, Sherrod, Harris. And Burke feel really good. And then, man, this wide receiver room, I already talked about it. Holy crap, dude. I love this. Wiggless, Hood, Wester, Harvey, Jones, Lewis, Marshall, Justice Ross Simmons. And then I got the 2 Western Kentucky wide receivers. One of those guys is going to go off either week. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. And then tight end, I did as best as I could with G5 only. David Martin Robinson, Dallin Holker. I'll take that all day long. Love that there. Let's talk about some guys that went undrafted here that we're kind of surprised by.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, let's start with quarterback.
Yes, sir.
Tyler Van Dyke wasn't drafted. Jaden Rashada wasn't drafted, especially with all the reports of him possibly being the guy there.
Do you think he'll be the guy?
There's reports saying so. They're getting more and more comfortable with making him the QB1 there. And then Dante Moore over in LA. I mean, with Rashada and Moore, you got reports of those guys potentially being the guy. I'm kind of surprised nobody took a shot on them. Those are the 3 quarterbacks I have on my board that I'm kind of surprised weren't taken. Then you got Clay Millen, Cooper Lega, Mikey Keene. Those guys could have possibly been taken also.
I agree. Doug Brumfield is another name I put out there. But back to the Jaden Rashada deal. If they start Rashada, I think it'll be one of the smarter moves that they make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arizona State's not. Arizona State. Well, Drew Pine's injured. Trenton Bourget isn't really doing anything. Arizona State's not doing anything this year. I don't know. Again, maybe they have some delusions in that locker room saying to them like, "Oh, maybe we can get something going this year, catching people off by surprise." You know how you do that? With a high upside freshman QB it'll cost you a couple games, but in the future, I think you're building really, really well if you go ahead and put him out there, start building him up, let him get the experience. In terms of quarterbacks, I'm surprised it didn't come off the board again. Doug Brumfield was a call I would make. You already talked about the UCLA guys as well. Jordan McLeod, James Madison, I think is somebody that probably somebody could have taken a shot on. I'm glad to see Tyler Buckner did not get drafted. Glad we're all learning our lesson there. And then, I think that's pretty much it. Brady Cook, watch tomorrow's CTN. That is all I will say for the 8 of you that are watching right now. Watch Smart CTN if you want to hear a little bit more about Brady Cook. That is kind of an interesting play right there potentially. Anyway,
Also
running
another
backs.
quarterback.
Oh, go
Also
ahead.
another quarterback that was left on the board, Peyton Thorne. He just got named the starting quarterback at Auburn. Hugh Freeze offense. I think Peyton Thorne could potentially be a pretty decent play, especially in a best ball.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Um,
looking at running backs here.
yeah.
Heath already kind of got to it early. Cam Porter really is the only name that's like truly surprising to me out of this bunch. Like everybody else I've kind of seen go undrafted for the most part. I'm surprised nobody took the shot there. Robert Biggs is a guy that I like decently well, but like I've seen him go undrafted plenty of times. Elijah Green's hanging out here when I know for a fact I saw where is it? British Brooks went off in like the 10th round. That kind of surprises me a little bit. But other than that, there's really nobody out there that I'm like, oh wow, completely shocked this guy's still there.
Jalen Wright's still out there. Montrell Johnson's still out there. I thought both of those guys probably should have been taken. I think Jalen Wright's going to be UT's RB1 by the end of the season. So I've been high on him all off season. I think he's going to overtake Small for that role. They'll both get their fair share of carries. I could easily see it being kind of a 40-35 split, and then all the other running backs getting the rest of the load. But I think Wright is going to have close to 1,000 yards this year.
Wow. There's one of your hot takes for the night there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
In terms of wide receivers, I think we did a really good job of grabbing the value at wide receiver for the most part. A couple names to stick out to me. Taj Washington out of USC. Obviously, he's a little banged up right now, so I kind of understand that. Brennan Presley out of Oklahoma State, Mr. Reliable over there. Cy Hatfield, wide receiver out of East Carolina. There's been a lot of pretty good reports coming out of there about him kind of stepping up in that receiver room. Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. I know that they're in for a tough year this year, but like they're going to have to pass a ton. And like guys like Jalen Noel and Higgins, their wide receivers there, I think they'll probably eat pretty decently. Javon Baker out of UCF's another name that I see that I'm kind of surprised by. Julian Fleming and Xavier Johnson. I talked about, taking shots on the potential wide receiver 3 for Ohio State. Johnson was just named a team captain for Ohio State, so make of that what you will. And then Josiah Freeman out of Fresno State. He was a guy that I'm surprised by. And then I'm going to look up his Bub Means, wide receiver out of Pitt. He's been getting a lot of buzz the last couple of weeks out of camp. We know Pitt can support number 1 wide receivers pretty well. I mean, Jared Wayne was a top 40 wide receiver for CFF last year. Nobody was thinking about him. Bub Means sounds like he's the guy. It sounds like they're going to try to air it out a little bit more than they did last year. So I'm surprised nobody took the shot there. What do you think, Tommy? Any wide receivers that stick out to you?
Oh yeah, I mean you got your boy Dom Lovett who wasn't drafted.
Oh yeah, good call.
Sam Brown, Dane, Moose Muhammad wasn't drafted either.
Oh dang,
he's actually been drafted quite a bit in these drafts. You had mentioned it was kind of a hot take for me saying Jalen Wright was going to get close to 1,000 yards. He had 875 last year, so I mean that's
okay. That's not too bad. Yeah, I guess that's fair.
So yeah. But yeah, you got Elijah Spencer still out there. I actually have taken him quite a bit in these drafts also. Jermaine Burton, you really never know which Alabama guy's going to hit.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of tight ends, just some names here, really more than anything else. And Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame, Michael Trigg, Jared Wiley. Nobody's really shocking me. Gavin Bartholomew, Rivaldo Fairweather. These are guys I've seen go in drafts, but like I'm not shocked that they're still here. George Cox there as well. But other than that, seems like you did a pretty good job at tight end. Tom, anybody stand out to you there for the big boys?
Yeah, you pretty much mentioned all of them. There's a couple other names. Clay Cundiff wasn't taken. I know McAllen Castles has gotten a lot of talk this year. Going into the season that he's really picking up the Tennessee offense really well. course, you have him and Jacob Warren there. I think McAllen Castles is probably the bigger play guy of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And they love to play two tight ends there. So I think both of them could have pretty decent shots at good weeks.
Maybe. I'm hoping they run 4 wide receiver sets the entire time.
I hope so too, because those wide receivers are fantastic, and then you got guys like Caleb Webb and Chaz Nimrod waiting in the wings for it too.
He's a pretty good call out here. I thought I mentioned this name, but Juice Vereen out of NC State potentially could have been a pretty good tight end option as well. But again,
was Ramel Key taken?
I don't think he was. He was not.
That's shocking too.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody took a shot on another Tennessee wide receiver there. He definitely would have been off the board for you, Tommy, if we could take Power 5 guys.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, that kind of brings us to the end of our stream here. Tommy, you've been fantastic, sir. Appreciate those of you who joined us in the chat tonight. It's a little bit more private tonight, but I mean, like, again, I appreciate all the questions and everything. You guys are very active, asking us questions. Had a really good conversation about a lot of different topics tonight. Again, this is the last CFF live draft stream words. Those words will be put in an order officially at some point by the time this starts next year. Anyway, this is the last one of those for the year. They've been awesome. Again, if you haven't already, if you missed out on some of them, I highly recommend going and check out every single one that we have done this season. We got a ton of great guests. We even had Tommy on here twice because he was so great. We had a great time the entire time. It's great, and I repeat, great way for you to get ready for your drafts if you still have any of those to be done over the next couple of weeks. But until then, y'all, the season is here. By the time that you see me next, we'll have actual football to discuss next time. So I'm excited about it. But Tommy, real quick before we get out of here, again, I forgot to ask you to talk about this at the beginning of the show. But what are you guys doing for Dynasty Pros over there regarding college fantasy, whether it be Devy, whether it be C2C stuff? Anything going on over there?
Well, first off, this makes me really, really sad that there's no more of these left to do this year. I really appreciate Jared hosting these every week. I've loved doing them. But over at Dynasty Pros Football, you can find me on Twitter, Dynasty Pros Tom. We do a lot of stuff with obviously Dynasty League stuff. I do a lot of Devy over there. I actually host a Devy show every other Monday over on our YouTube page. Feel free to go over there and check it out. We have a show tomorrow night at 9:15 Eastern. Feel free to kind of log in and check it out and watch it. It's gonna be me and my co-hosts Justin Taylor, SC Romero, and Andy Pham. We always have a real good time. Tomorrow night we're actually doing our Big Ten Devy assets.
Nice.
We've covered every other conference so far this year, but tomorrow night is our final one for the conferences. We're doing the Big Ten, so come on over, watch with us, hang out, ask questions. We'd love to have you over there. But we've actually started doing quite a bit of Devy stuff over there. Andy Pham has been a great addition to our team. He's pumping out content over there.
Yes, sir.
He does something called the Devy Digest, where he profiles individual players, and he does a really, really good job with that. So go check that out. But we also have we have our trade calculator over there now. We developed that over the summer. That includes NFL IDP and Devy IDP. So we'd love to see you come over there, check it out, and leave your feedback with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Go check out everything that Tommy and them are doing over there at dynastyprosfootball.com and their YouTube page, which I believe is just Dynasty Pros Football. Am I correct on that, Tommy?
Dynasty Pros Football, yes. DynastyProsFootball.com.
Yeah, go check all their stuff out over there. They are good people over there. Obviously, Tommy, we had him on here twice, but Justin Taylor, I had the pleasure of meeting him at the Fantasy Expo as well. And then Andy Pham, I haven't personally met him yet, but I've heard nothing but good things amongst the C2C people that I work with who have had the pleasure of working with him, and they have nothing but good things to say about him as well. So go check out all of their stuff. In terms of what we got going on over here at Chasing the Natty, again, this is the last one of these streams, but we'll be going to 2 shows per week. We'll be having the first one of the week will be waiver wires, recapping the previous week, what we learned, stuff like that. And then the next week, I talked about earlier, those start-sit shows. That's where you guys can get heavily involved. So be on the lookout for that on Twitter at CFF_Jared and at Chasing the Natty for the show. Without that being said, Tommy, it is time to go to bed. We got work in the morning, man. We got to get back to the real world. So
yep, you got to get early.
So appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Appreciate all of you who are listening to this at a later date. Season's right here, y'all. Let's get it going. Appreciate y'all. Hope you have a wonderful and blessed weekend. See y'all.